Tzvi Lebetkin, the Rabbi from another planet. Please like, share, and subscribe, and ring that little bell. Ring the little bell so you're notified when new videos drop. So even new episode of Game of Thrones, and it's a corker, right? It's an absolute corker. It's fan-freaking-tastic, okay? This show has totally won me over. It's won me over by incredible performances, but that they reveal interesting, layered, deep characters, and they just started introducing new ones this week. Freaking loving this show, and it's a ballsy show too, because they're getting rid of half the leads next episode. This is we're seeing young Rhaenyra. I think Alicent is also going. David Tennant's son's in it next week as a grown Aegon II, I think, or slightly grown. So you know. That you can switch out your major cast halfway through your first season. I just think it's ballsy, right? I think it's ballsy. I think it's quite clever. So, you know, good for you. Good for you. But again, this is a show that exists because of dragons, right? They put a ton of money into those dragon effects, and we get the ubiquitous dragon effect in this week, the episode. And they're great, right? Probably the best dragon effects that's ever been on screen. Better than the Hobbit Smaug. I mean, probably because the Hobbit movies weren't very good, right? Just fantastic. Like absolutely, I watched some of them in 4K. They're seamless, absolutely seamless. Didn't need it at all, right? Didn't need it at all. This episode survives on great writing, great characterization, great plots, great characters. I love the introduction of a new sneaky like Master of Whispers sort of character, and apparently I found out in the chat that he's brothers with the chief of the secret police. I like a lot of this, right? If you're not watching it, it's a recommend. I will go back and start watching it. It's really worth your time, right? I don't see this jumping the shark at all. Honestly, listen, I've gone back and I've reevaluated things that I thought were terrible. In a more realistic light, right? I'm rewatching Westworld. I'm in season 2. I've got 2 episodes of season 2 to go. It's not woke at all. And that's the crazy thing. I viewed it as completely woke, right? Not that woke is the uncomfortable platforming of ideology on an existent, successful franchise. And it really genuinely isn't. It just continues the story with the previously set up female protagonist, right? But it's honestly, generally speaking, not what I would call woke. So you know, I was pretty down on this show when it started. I'm like, because I remember the shadow of Game of Thrones, how bad that got. This could really wipe that away. It's a shame it took them so long to pull it back together again. It's a much bigger shame that this production team didn't take over Game of Thrones from season 5. And they did season 5 to 10 and rounded it off properly, rather than the garbage that we got. Dan and Dave would still have a strong career, and we would have had a good series, right? And probably we will still be watching season 1 of House of the Dragon now, because they know what they're doing. Again, the performances just knocked this out of the park. I'm saddened that I think Paddy Considine is only going to be in this season, because his subtle performance of a duty-driven king who feels that everybody against him, because everybody is against him, right? And who's falling apart, physically disintegrating, because he's desperate to try and hold the kingdom together, his legacy together, his family together, the Targaryens together. You know, it's you see the weight of the world on him in this, and how everybody's working against him when all he's trying to do is make everybody's lives better, right? I just love that performance. Matt Smith is freaking incredible in this. I mean, just incredible. What an amazingly complex villain, right? Who I'm fascinated with all the way through. Great scenes with him this week. It's just everything. This is a great show. So if you're not watching it, it's a strong recommend, right? That's a review, strong recommend. Before we get into the review, like, share, subscribe, comment. All those things are very, very good. Thank you very much. They very much help me. So thank you very much for doing that. Karney asked me to put this out as a podcast, and I will if I ever get round to it, but I'm bad at stuff like that. Maybe I'll put it out on Substack. They let you do podcasts. Maybe. I don't know. Listen, I listen. You comment, I listen, mate. Okay, that's basically how it goes. You comment, I listen. Like, share, subscribe, comment. Sign up my Substack, which is my email newsletter. I put extra stuff in that. It's free. I also have a paid one. I'm going to be doing, I think, digital art cards. You know what? I might well do a few House of the Dragon ones. I'm really into it, but yeah, look, I got to be doing. I got to get more time to do these things. But I am really kind of into it because I very much yeah, I like the idea of doing artwork to praise something because you can see my emotional connection and state towards whatever it is I'm drawing, and I think that comes across much better than photography, for example. So yeah, I'm probably going to be doing that on the paid. Like, basically, it's a way for you to give me a couple of bucks digitally. I won't stop you doing that. Fine, like, share, subscribe, comment. Let me hand over to me from last night. The only thing I don't like about it is the bloody titles. The bloody titles. It is like. Get your own theme tune, mate. Dun 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 dun. Like I don't understand, right? And the visuals aren't as good as the Game of Thrones, and he just reminded me that Game of Thrones titles was better. So this isn't this is not working for you, right? I don't see you can backtrack from it, but it's not working for you. What is working is this episode. So we start. Instantly, I know we're at the Vale, right? So I'm like, oh, this is cool. And we're introduced to Matt Smith's wife, who hates him. You don't find out how much he hates him until further on. And she's like, I'm off riding. He's like, well, can I come with it? No, I want to go on my own, whoever this is. And off she goes riding through the Vale. Quite nice drone photography. Again, this is just a tragedy. This creative team didn't take over Game of Thrones from season 6, right? If they did, we would have been in a different universe, right? Because they're really pulling it together. So she's got a couple of pheasants. She's riding. And as she is, she meets a stranger in the road. But he's not a stranger. It's Matt Smith being just, I love this villain he's created. I've never, rooted for a villain this much. And he's clearly a villain. Right, he's clearly a piece of shit, and I really like him. Right, which is, I think, just a testament to Matt Smith, quite frankly. So he does this thing, and he makes the horse rear up and throw her, and her back's broken, so she can't move. And yeah, he looks at her like she's like on a microscope, and he tests her arm, he can't get up, and she's like just shouts hatred and insults as he walks away. And he goes and picks up a rock to obviously kill her, right? So that was a WTF moment, like out of nowhere. Meanwhile, the king is having a shit day as always. Paddy Constantine, always having a shit day, always doing his best, right? He's good. So they offer him a bucket to throw up into, but no, he wants to go over the side, and he's not well, right? He is not well. Then Renara has an interesting relationship going on with whatever his name is, Caspian or whatever. I can't remember his name. Anyway, so they arrive over at the over at the Red Keep, right? Otto Hightower's leaving, right? And the daughter's like, I did. This is a fucking awesome scene, right? This scene, if you're an actor, you want to watch Rhys Ifans in this scene. He knows what he's doing. Like, she said, I don't want you to leave. I'm sorry you leave. He said, well, you shouldn't have told Rhaenyra, right? He said, look, I thought she was on the level. I didn't want to lie. And he's like, you silly cunt. Like, he grabs her. So do you not realize that if she succeeds the throne, there will be war. She will not be accepted, right? If there is war, there is no way she can allow your children to live. She's going to kill your children, right? Either prepare your children for your child to rule, or throw yourself on Rhaenyra's mercy and beg her not to kill you and her, right? Yeah, that is their choice, right? And you can see, like, it's like as a father destroying a daughter, right? Because out of his panic for her. It's, again, a perfect scene. This is a perfect scene. Both of them knocked it out the park, and I understand both of them terribly, right? And I feel terrible for both of them. right? And he has to leave. He's like, I wish you luck, right? And he really does. Man, this is awful. Meanwhile, was it Viserys? I can't remember. The king. The king is like, oh man, they're just dying. Going over to Corey's. What's his name again? Corey's. Not for Rassilon. No, Rassilon. I can't remember. Whatever. And like, there's nobody there to greet them. Like, the new hand is like, what the fuck is this? This is like, what is like? No, we only just got back. He's ready to greet you. Please come inside to the room, and you see his son, who's going to be marrying Rhaenyra. Meanwhile, in the Goswood. Okay, another freaking great scene. I forgot about it. I don't know who this guy is. He's awesome, right? He is such a great Game of Thrones character. Right, he is fan-freaking-tastic, and so he's clearly this kind of like manipulator, spy type of guy, there we go. He's clearly like this manipulator, spy type of guy, and I have no idea, right? Like, Corus Valerian, Corus Valerian. Thank you very much. Can go, but again, and he's like putting he's surreptitiously feeding information. He's using information as a weapon, right? Which is again, this is what we loved in Game of Thrones, right? This is totally what people loved in Game of Thrones. And he tells her that he hopes that Rhaenyra isn't sick and she doesn't, and he's feeding her information. Like he says, on the night of the the incident, right, when she was out in the brothel with the brother. I don't think they did the deed, right? I think they came close. I don't think they did. But apparently the night after, the Grand Maester turned up with a special tea made for her, clearly meant to give her an abortion if she was sick, right? If she was pregnant, right? And she works out what he's saying. And he's like, oh, good, I'm so glad she's not sick. I was mistaken. I love this guy. He's a snake in the grass, right? I just wish everybody could be more honest with each other, and then everybody would be much happier. But no, not in the Game of Thrones world, right? That's not what we're gonna get. Where we're up to? Fine. So the king goes in to see Cora's Valerian. What was it? The guy is Larry Strong. He's like a super little figure from Game of Thrones. Yes, yeah, and you can really tell. Great character, right? And I think them having less things holding them down is making this a more interesting show, right? But it's really working, right? It really works. So she goes off with her, and he goes in to meet Corey's, and he's very cold. I'm like, doesn't he know that they've been? He's getting the son betrothed to her, which is what he always wanted. And you have some cold pleasantries, right? And the king comes in and says, "Listen, I got good news. We can join our houses just like you always wanted. Your son can marry my daughter, right?" And he's like, "Well, yeah, I'm happy to. This is a very generous offer, but we have a few questions, right? Can we clarify a few things?" And again, look at the general irritation on the king's on Paddy Consigline's face. This is his cat. Like, I'm just trying to fucking give you what you fucking want, and you're giving me shit, right? And he gets this from everybody. Nobody's in his fucking corner, and he's working for everybody. This is entirely his character, right? Really like this character. So he says, "Well, who's going to? What's going to happen when you the succession?" Said, "Well, she's going to become the queen, and he can become the king consort, right? And then the grandson, regardless what gender they are, will become the next king or queen, right? And so then he pushes further, says, "So, but what name is it? Like normal? It's normal to take on the name of the husband, not the wife." He says he's like, "What the fuck?" So he comes up with a solution. He says, "Fine, you know, the kids can take on the name of the father until they ascend to the throne. They must to ascend to the throne. They must be take on the name Targaryen. Dragons will rule for the next 100 years, and I think because of the work he did, that's probably why they did rule for another was it 150 odd years, 130 years, right?" So he comes up with a solution, and thankfully Cora says yes, okay to that. So then the problem turns up. He is bent as a dog's back leg, right? He is super, super gay, super not interested in her. And they basically talk about this through metaphor and said, listen, we've got to do what we got to do for the crown. But afterwards, we can always just do whatever we want. It's all cool, right? So, he's saying, look, you've got to get me pregnant. Whatever we got to do that, right? That's cool. And then we'll just go and go. So she's going to be still with, what's the name? The captain's guard. What is his name again? I can't remember. Sir Crispin, maybe something like that. So then we get a good scene with Corey and his wife, and she's like saying, "You don't understand, right? This puts our son in danger." He says, "Well, what are you talking about?" It says it's like if Rhaenyra assumes the throne, there will be war. Right, she will not be, she will not be accepted, right? And if that happens, then he's in trouble. Said, but we're strong. Said, don't be surprised that there will definitely be war if she succeeds, right? So meanwhile, his son hangs out with his best friend, right? His best friend, who he just wants to be shagging, right? Lots and lots of shagging. And again, look, I want to be clear, this is representation all the way through this. Nobody's complaining about the representation in House of the Dragon, are they? Right? Again, the black Valerians with white hair is such a cool idea, right? It's not disrupting any law that I know of, and it seems to be done for storytelling reasons, right? It's interesting. It works. It's exciting, right? Obviously, this couple might be homosexual. I'm not entirely sure, right? Okay. Meanwhile, on the boat on the way home, they got this heartbreaking melding. Says, "Listen, we could just run away, you and me, right? There's ships that leave to dawn all the time, and we can go to the spice runs, and we can get married and be married because for love. We don't have to live this way." And she's like, "Are you out your fucking mind? I am the crown." There's no way. He's crushed, right? He's absolutely crushed. He's like, "You don't understand. The white cloak is all I had. I saw that by sleeping with you. Now I have nothing, right? I have nothing. My life, I've destroyed my life, right?" And he storms off. Right. Again, really heavy thing. And there's so many things, one after another. It's just like bringing it home. I mean, just incredible, right? Absolutely incredible. All right. So meanwhile, then again, a couple of months later, they arrive back at the Red Keep. And again, I like this sort of has the Westeros Express, but it doesn't, because it must have a good 6 month timeline that goes on in this episode. She watches him, and he arrives, and he collapses as he arrives. It's like, well, he's not in good nick, And again, the time the father says he's not well. He's not going to make it to old age. Fact is, I've looked ahead, and he does survive. I mean, what was it? Another 15 years after this, he's supposed to live for. So that anyway. So she calls him to see the Queen, and you get to see again. She's developing what she's going to do. Right, she knows she's on her own, right? She's like, bloody kid, whatever. And so he talks to Captain Gunn and said, "Look, did Rhaenyra do anything, And he expects we're going to be with the brother, and he confesses totally, right? He says, "It was me. I sold my oath. I did everything. I just ask that if you If you have me, don't have me tortured, have my balls cut off, just have me killed. That's that's all I'm asking, right? And she's like, look, you can just go, you can go, don't worry about it, right? And he's like, okay. Meanwhile, Viserys, not good, right? Not good. And he's like, I think he's got like this grayscale leprosy going on, right? And I think it's mainly put on by stress, because he just cares about holding the bloody realm together, right? And you see, and he's got grayscale. You got one mate, the Grand Mason wants to leech him, while the other one says, no, we got to use this herbal thing, and nobody gets together. Anyway, so they got. So he gives them, I think, milk of the pipe. He's like, hey, can we see like a little bit what the makeup is on it? That does look like grayscale, doesn't it? Right? Or some kind of like leprosy like grayscale. So, and he's lamenting. He's like, what's my legacy going to be? I've done nothing. Yeah, I've had no wars. I've had no challenges. And again, I think he's selling himself short. He's held the realm together, right? He's trying to get continuance for his house. Right, he's done his duty in every way. He shouldn't feel bad, and he does. Right, and eventually he passes out from the milk of the puppy. So then some time has passed, and we got the wedding started. Great dragon stuff. I guess this is Matt Smith arriving, right? And the great and the good are all showing up for the wedding. We got the Lannisters. We got whoever they are. I do like Lannister is always a cunt, right? I think that's kind of a nice idea. And I like how the king and Rhaenyra just do not like him. They think he's a bit of an irritating prick. So he turns up from the Vale. He's pissed as anything. He's like, so sorry for your loss. And he's you know what's going on. Corey shows up, and everyone's like, yeah, it was here. And was it the guard is not happy by this by all this, right? They have to have a big welcoming dance, and they're very good at it, right? They're able to fulfill their functions well, and it seems to be like it's all going nicely, right? The king's giving a speech, and now finally we can unite the houses. No, before he gives a speech. Matt Smith shows up, right? And he's like, just give him a chair and let him sit down. So he gives a speech that we're uniting our houses, it's going to be great. And he's building up to a crescendo. And all of a sudden he has to stop as his wife enters, who's been missing, right? She's wearing a very stunning green dress. Now, apparently this is a big deal. She's wearing a green dress. There's 2 bits of dialogue in this scene, which one was necessary, one wasn't. And you can see like the king was pissed that his thunder was stolen by his wife. And then they basically said the same thing in dialogue. Oh, the king's nothing mad. She took all the thunder. Meanwhile, the Littlefinger dude, he very cleverly says, remind me, what color on the tower do they burn when they're calling the banners? They're like green, right? So wearing this dress is a very clear message that she is she's here to play. Right, she's here to make her own faction. Right, so he goes back to giving a speech. Trying to remember where he is. So Chris Bit, what the hell? Here, I'm just going to look it up. One sec. We'll go House of the Dragon. Look at the Wikipedia, and then, I could just look at all the actors. Paddy Considine here, 1 second. Let's look at Wikipedia. That should have his name. King's Council guest. Who is it? I'm looking. No, I don't want the King's family. Is he in the main cast? What's his name? Maybe if I see the hang on 1 second. I'm reading the once again, I'm reading the synopsis and seeing if I can find out who the name. So Kristen, thank you. Man, that was making me crazy. Okay, that was making me crazy. Fine. So was it? So Kristen, not happy about this, right?
And again, they have a good foot dance, and they look like they like each other. And this is good for appearances, which is what all this is, right? So Crispin not happy, right? And the Queen also part him, but yeah, we can see everybody is working out. Matt Smith is working out who the secret lovers are, as are the secret lovers working out who else everybody is, as they see their reactions across the dance hall. Meanwhile, the Queen's walking around like politicking, and they're like saying, "We get your message." And I think wearing green is going to become a sign of like being on, in her camp, right? Matt Smith goes and firstly, this guy comes and confronts Matt Smith, and he's like, this is slander, and I'm gonna I'm about to, inherit the veil, right? And he's like, so yeah, maybe we'll be seeing more of each other. And the king's like, what the hell is up with this guy? He's just scum. Why is nobody nice? Like, everybody is just shit apart from me, which is basically why he's falling apart, right? Anyway, so meanwhile, the dances are going on, and Matt Smith is circulating. Cora's son's lover has worked out that Sir Crispin is what's name's lover is Rhaenyra's lover, and so he goes and talks to her and says, "Listen, I know your secret, you know mine. Let's all be nice to each other, right?" And you can see things are not going right. This guy's torn up beyond torn up. He's close to suicidal. Matt Smith goes nuts with her and is like saying, "Listen, do you want this? We should be married." And basically, she calls his bluff, right? He says, "So that can just go slit my father's throat and take me to Dragonstone and make me your wife. If that's what you want, go ahead and do it, right? Don't be a pussy, right?" Just then, a commotion breaks out, right? He's like, and the king seeing what's going on. He's pissed. Just then a commotion breaks out. There's a fight going on. She's knocked down, and it's Sir Crispin and the gay bloke, right? And having a massive knockdown fight. He sends like the head of the Secret Service in to get Rhaenyra. Meanwhile, he starts bleeding out of his nose, right? His duty is making him die, but a lot like the Queen's father, right? Something we really need to remember. Another reason why we love the Queen, right? Because we wouldn't be here without her father. He was integral to the war effort, right? Absolutely integral. As she's rescued, Sir Crispin is beating the crap out of the gay bloke. A little bit too much, right? She's like, "What the hell?" And he's like literally beating him into death. His face is like nothing anymore, right? People are like, "Whoa, this is that off the charts." He just gets up and leaves, and then the fiance wakes up from his over, and he sees his lover's hand with the ring on. He goes to see what's going on, and he squeals, like a baby, right? Like, because obviously his lover's been lost, and this is too much for the king, and he ends up collapsing. So apparently they get married that night, right? I don't know if this always was the plan, or they just said we got to do this now. So during the marriage, Sir Crispin goes to the Goswood. Both of them are not doing well. So Crispin is about to kill himself, and she's like, "We just got to do a duty." He's mourning his dead lover, and Sir Crispin needs to kill himself. He's trying to, and just before he does, he hears a voice, and it's the Queen calling him. Right? I think she's like going to save him. Right? And so they get married, but the king collapses, and we just see a pool of blood from him. Will he survive? Again, I kind of know the future that they're going to, but maybe he'll survive. He'll be in a coma or something for years. I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do. This is just a great show, though. I mean, honestly, there's so many good characters in this show, right? Now, and there's so many great performances. And in this very episode, I mean, it's just like, and this one, I think the scene with the dragons was totally superfluous, quite frankly. This was, they very much needed to rely on their dragons to justify their existence thus far. This was just cult drama, and it was great. Why? Because you freaking loved. Kako said it was a shotgun wedding. It's supposed to be 7 days later. I thought so. I didn't know if this was at the end of the party or the beginning, right? Larry Strong is talking to his brother. Breakbone Strong. He's important later. The Queen is basically declaring war with the green dress. Yes, that's what I gathered. I didn't know those two characters, Larry's and Breakbones, were brothers. Interesting. Again, thank you for the extra. See, this is the difference between this and Power of the Rings. I'm interested in the greater lore, right? What a different world we would have lived in if this creative team had taken over from season 6 of Game of Thrones. Dan and Dave said, look, we've done 5 years. This is a very demanding show. We need to change of pace. We don't want to be trapped in doing one thing. Hand over. They could have saved face. They could have had a career. They could have pulled it together. And these people could have gone on 5 seasons of Game of Thrones, and we probably would have been starting this show now, right? And we would have destroyed Game of Thrones, and HBO Max will probably be a much stronger platform, right? And what's the mistake they made? They couldn't give a shit about the consumer. Finally, they seem to be concerned about telling stories rather than lecturing us. And I think it's really, really working, right?
My name's Tzvi Lebetkin, the Rabbi from another planet. Please like, share, and subscribe, and ring that little bell. Ring the little bell so you're notified when new videos drop.